The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website, www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Bulawayo. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.
Welcome to another segment of the Girls Table. My name is Shengiwe Mtetwa, and joining me in the studio today is Mishi, Tande, and Mamo, and we are talking teenage pregnancy. Now, according to a survey done by the United Nations Population Fund, teenagers as young as 13 years are getting pregnant, and about 22% of girls between the ages of 15 and 19 are going to get pregnant. So, ladies, welcome to the Girls Table.
Thank you.
Right. So, first of all, I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves. Starting with you.
Hi, my name is Tandegile Moyo. You can call me Mamo.
Hi, I'm Michelle. You can call me Michelle.
Hi, I'm Tandega Chongi. You can call me Tan.
All right, so ladies, the argument that I've heard surrounding the discussion of teenage pregnancy is either there's too much information or there's too little information. Too much information from the media, too little information coming from our parents or our families. What do you guys have to say about that?
Definitely. There is so much information coming from the media, considering that on TV, that's what we see happening. It's the cool shows that we're watching. It's the music that we get to hear. We get so much information from the media, I must say, and parents are generally African parents, so to say. They believe that you don't discuss such important topics with your children. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why there's less information from them.
Okay, so I'm lost. Is there too much information or is there too little information?
Well, for me, it wasn't a case of too little information, but the kind of information that was coming to me. Because my parents, African as they were, used to have conversations with us about sex. They may have been dubious, like, they are not saying straight up, but you get the message that you have to wait until you meet the right person. You have to finish school. And so it was just rules from them, basically, but never any coping mechanisms. Like, you're supposed to wait, but it doesn't tell you what you're supposed to do when you then meet someone that you really like and your hormones are raging and all that. Yes, I'm supposed to wait, but how do I cope with this? So in a way, the information is there, but the conversation doesn't extend to coping skills, which is what you basically need. Because you don't know how to say no to this person that you love. You don't know how to say, okay, fine, I'm going to break the rule and sleep with this guy. But how do I protect myself from getting pregnant? Sex is taboo. You can't even have that conversation with that guy at 19 or 18. You can't tell him, can you please use a condom? You can't go to your parents for contraceptives. You can't ask your friends because you're hiding this from them as well. So yeah, it's a bit, I don't know if it's lack of information or
too much. Okay, so I said girls as young as 13 years are getting pregnant now. You speak about 18. So do you think they are making the decision to engage in sex, or there's a lack of information in terms of helping them have the knowledge to make that kind of decision, speaking from your own experience?
Well, from my own experience, I think you do know it, but the textbook knowledge.
Yeah.
Because you learn about sex and what contraceptives are in the books. But like what she said, when it comes to reality, when you're in that situation to actually say, okay, I'm having sex now, I feel like it's a more of a pressured decision.
Yeah.
Or in my case, a more of, well, all my friends are doing it, might as well get it over and done with as well. And say, no, I've also broke my virginity, I've also had sex. But yeah, it's just like, there's no information about it fully in depth. Because now when you're older and you have conversation with people your age, you're like, oh, friend, what happened with you? And she's like, no, this is what happened. I met this guy, we liked each other, and then we got into his room and we had sex. But it's like, okay, teach me about what contraceptive methods are they. Tell me about the contraceptive methods. And do, like you waited, do I wait? Do I do it? Is it, like for me, it was a whole thing of, no, you fall in love with the person that you're with and you do it. I'm just like, no. It happened, it was, let's get this over done with.
Let's get it over it. All right, so let's take it to the beginning. The day or the age at which you decide you're going to start engaging. Is there the right age to make the decision to have sex? Because you're talking about knowledge about contraception and so forth, but I'm asking it its most basic sense, like saying yes to the act. Are children understand making conscious decisions to say yes, or is it somehow just happening because of the circumstances that are surrounding them, like you're saying?
Well, I would say that it's not about age, really. It's not about age. It's basically about knowing the right time to do it.
For yourself?
Yes.
And 13, if someone says, I'm 13 and it's okay for me, it's okay?
Well, what I think is, Uguti, asking the question, when is the right age? Yes, that's a question we need to ask, but I think we should be asking, Uguti, are children doing it? Because as parents, I was a teacher at some point, and what I realized is, Uguti, children are having sex. Children as young as 13, because I had a class of Form 1s where we had an incident which we found contraceptives in the classroom. And what was going on there is there was a group of 4 girls who were already engaging in sex, and they were sharing a packet of AMA contraceptives. So I think we need to get to a stage where we accept that these children are doing it. Whether yours decides to do it at 13 or at 20, but they are doing it, and we need to treat them as kids that are engaging in sex. And then we equip them with information. You cannot share a packet of contraceptive pills. You have the option of using condoms because they're doing it. So
are you saying the conversation, Yoguti, do not turn books before boys because boys bring babies? That conversation is long gone.
It's necessary, but you have that conversation and you also accept the reality that my child might not choose that road. My child might decide, I want to have sex.
So you need to equip them.
And she's going to go ahead and do it, but you can't then say, I'm advising my child the right thing to do. You tell them the right thing to do, but they also know they're a human being who makes choices that have got nothing to do with you in some instances. So we need to treat them as someone who is not supposed to, but might do it.
All right, but before we get to maybe the causes of teenage pregnancies, because engaging in sex is one thing, but then falling victim to teenage pregnancies is another. I wanted to speak about our personal experiences here a little bit. The decision that you personally took to start engaging. What do you think made you take that decision at that point?
What made me take that decision? You're dating. It's convenient.
It's convenient?
With the way the relationship is moving.
Yeah.
It logically.
What age was this?
I was 16.
Okay.
Logically seems like the next step.
It's okay.
Yeah. We've done the movies. And Dala used to go for movies.
We've gone for ice cream. We've done all of that. Yeah. You're like, okay, what next?
What next? And
okay.
Logic, it was like, okay.
So I'm saying it's boredom, sorry.
At one point I feel like it is. Honestly speaking, I actually feel like with today's society, in terms of how our country is, it does come into play that boredom is a factor.
Okay.
Because in as much as you can go for movies, which are actually quite expensive, I feel, you can go for picnics. I don't know if that happens still. You can go to a Hatsfield. You can go to the club, because now kids, that's another factor, kids go clubbing now. You can go to the club, you can have that random bra with your friends, you can do a drink up. Once I leave too, watching movies and leave. What do you guys do?
Okay, so you decided to wait. Yes. So I would like to hear your side of the story, because you managed to go through all the teen years and your early 20s and you said, no, you made the conscious decision to not engage in sex. What was your thought process?
Well, basically, when I got to Form 1, my best friend, she was older than me by a year. She had sex, but she came to me and said, Michelle, actually, boys waste us. They use you and abuse you, and they leave you for dead. So you're better off.
They leave you for dead.
Yeah, that's what she said. That's Form 1 language.
That's like it's over for you.
You're dead to them.
Exactly. So that's what she said to me, right? It made sense also because my brothers were very open with me. And that sometimes forget that time around when they're having conversations with their friends. They say, oh, that girl, yeah, I actually did sleep with her. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with her. That's the for dead part of it. My brothers were also young. They're just 2 years and 1 year older than me. Then one conversation that actually really made me hold on to that decision. My brother, you know how when you're young, you don't have a house and stuff like that, but you all find a place to do it and stuff. So my brother wanted a place to do something, to have sex with the girl. And he said, no, your home is too far, you know, and I'm going to have to walk all the way back to the ET with this girl. We have been saying nyanyisa and stuff like that. And I thought, whoa, so why are you doing it with her, you know? So that literally cemented the decision, and I decided, no, even if he pretends like he loves me, whether he loves me or he doesn't love me, if he loves me, he's going to love me enough to wait until we do it when we're married. If he doesn't love me enough to wait for marriage, then he doesn't love me.
So how did you deal then with the information from the media, with the fact that your friends were doing it? Because you can't run away from the fact that when you watch the movies, people are kissing, and then your friends are in relationships and they're saying, oh my gosh, it's amazing. How did you then process all that information and still manage to hold on to your decision?
I guess also the other thing is that I'm a very strong character as a person, and I'm Christian. So obviously at church, you get there, they tell you this is the best thing for you. You get home, they tell you the same thing. And so because of that, I had to hold on to that, and also the personal experiences of these girls that were being used by my brothers. Although they didn't have to tell me, I know what they probably felt, because really my brothers were douchebags.
We all need brothers. Okay, so let's talk about the causes of teenage pregnancies, because it's not a secret that our young girls are falling victim to this, and it's so hurtful because the boys. Have you ever, like, teenage pregnancies is always for the girls, but who's getting them pregnant? Is it teenagers? Is it older people and so forth? So why do you think causes teenage pregnancy?
Well, I'll talk about my experience. I got pregnant at 19. I was the poster child for good girls.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think I started dating at 16, and I had never imagined that I would actually sleep with a boy. And fortunately, the guys that I dated from when I was 16 to 19 respected that I didn't want to have sex until I got married. So, yeah, I was fortunate. But then I met one.
Were they your age?
Yes, they were in my age
group, yeah.
Even the guy who got me pregnant was, well, I think 2-3 years older than me.
Okay.
But then I think the deciding factor, or what really messed up my plan, was I then met someone who wasn't having none of it. Like, you know, we had this conversation, I want to be a virgin bride, I want to do what. And he's saying, yeah. So you trust this person.
Yeah, and he was agreeing, by the way, when you're having the conversation. Like, sure, babe, we'll wait.
Oh, yes. This is... So you're thinking, okay, we're on the same page. And remember, my past experience was, you can trust guys. So we would make out and all, and then you get to a point where you say, no, stop. Then I met this guy who we got to a point where I said stop, and they pushed. I wasn't equipped to deal with that. Yes, and I didn't want to upset him. I also didn't want the relationship to end. So eventually it happened and I got pregnant. So I think Uguti, for me, it was more about having met guys that were as naive as me, and being unfortunate enough to finally meet someone who knew the game, who knew how to press the right buttons, and yeah, so.
So what does equipping you for that moment look like in your head now that you've experienced it and you want to talk to the next young girl and you're saying, okay, there's going to be a moment where you guys are making out and then this is going to happen? Because I feel like these decisions are more emotional than rational, like in the moment. You're like, I love him so much. If I don't do this, he's going to leave me. So let me just do it because maybe he'll stick around if I give this to him. So what is equipping a young girl to not fall victim to that look like in your eyes?
The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Blaauw. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.
And you want to talk to the next young girl and you're saying, okay, there's going to be a moment where you guys are making out and then this is going to happen. Because I feel like these decisions are more emotional than rational, like in the moment. You're like, I love him so much. If I don't do this, he's going to leave me. So let me just do it because maybe he'll stick around if I give this to him. So what is equipping a young girl to not fall victim to that look like in your eyes?
Well, in my head now, I wish someone had told me it's okay not to be nice. Because being raised to be a good girl means you're also a nice girl. So, you know, being nice is you are sweet to this guy. Even when you're saying no, baby, no, I don't want. You know? And we need to teach girls it's okay to say, listen, I am not doing this. You know, so this whole good girl, nice girl script has to be changed at some point. Like, you need to teach girls, Uguti, if you're not comfortable with something, it's okay to say you're not. It's okay to, you know, but we teach girls no drama. So no drama basically means, Uguti, you can't scream when a guy touches you because what's your problem?
What's your issue?
You know, so yeah, I think we stop telling girls to be good girls. I'm not going to raise a good girl. I'm raising a bad girl. You know, like I want my daughter to be able to say, listen, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Or to say, I want to do this, but this is how we're going to do it. Because in so much as I ended up sleeping with this guy, I could have done it and not fallen pregnant.
Yes.
If I had felt I could say to him, let's do it fine, but let's use protection. Or let's do it fine, but wait a bit, let me get on some contraceptive. So this good girl thing, I'm really not for it anymore.
She talks about good girls and bad girls. I remember we were speaking off air and she was saying, bad girls don't fall victim of such. You want to comment on that?
No, they don't, because I feel like with
So what
the
is
bad
it?
girls,
Yeah.
they somehow get talking and they're already labeled the bad girls.
Yeah.
Even if they were to go into hypothetically a pharmacy or approach someone and
yes.
say, Ma, okay, I'm doing this. Obviously, you know, because there's girls.
Hook me up with some...
And sorry, parents also know they're bad girl children. So they give them contraceptives. But my parents knew I was a good girl. So what was
So
the
they
point?
didn't dare give
they-
you
they-
condoms or talk about
But
it.
if you know that, no, my daughter is bad.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
And that's the thing, your parents probably know. And
Yeah.
I feel like parents now need to have that conversation. Besides your girl, like what she's saying, besides your child being a good girl or a bad girl, have that conversation.
Talk about it. Rip off the
'Cause I
band-aid.
feel like, given with my mother, we now have that conversation. Even now as I'm dating, I'm 27. She dates now, you're like, oh, so you're going to see your boyfriend? Like, yeah, it's like, okay, my child, so what contraceptive are you on? You have that conversation. I feel like with kids, with teenagers to say, have that conversation. Give them the options. And just tell them, give that word of honor with, you're not forced to do this. Like what she's saying, you're not forced to do it. You actually have a voice to say no. But If it just so happens that you're actually engaging in sex, you've got A, B, C, D options. And know that what decision you're making, it's not part of me, it's your life. So if you're gonna fall pregnant or anything happens, be able to take responsibility for it happening.
All right, so let's talk about the conversation around contraception, the stigma, the secrecy. She says when you go now into a pharmacy as a teen at 14 and talk about getting a condom or whatever else contraception that you need, what's the treatment that girls get if they want to equip themselves and arm themselves against teenage pregnancy?
Dude, I'm 34. I can't buy a morning after pill. You know, I can't imagine getting into a pharmacy and saying,
at 34.
Morning after
yeah.
pill. No,
because it's like,
because now, okay, you know. So I don't know what we can do, but we need to destigmatize sex, make it like it's happening, it's normal.
Yeah. And who then needs to get this information? Is it the pharmacies, is it the clinics? What organizations now need to know the importance of giving the girls the right to go into a clinic, to go into a pharmacy and ask for what they need? Who should we have that conversation with? Because I mean, yeah.
It should be a mindset change for the whole population.
For the whole population.
Yes, I grew up in a small town. There's no way I could have gone to a clinic even for an STI check, or even if I did manage to get an STI, I'd rather die from it than go and be treated by my mom's friend. But if the whole community, you just need to change the mindset of everyone. So maybe it's something that needs to be taught from schools. It's something that our parents need to learn in universities or wherever, but we need a whole mindset, a paradigm shift. That sex is happening. Children need protection from STIs, from pregnancy, and let's not make them feel bad about it.
Yes.
Right.
I don't know, hey, but I'm thinking about it. Okay, right now it's 2019. If we as parents decide right now, kids, if you're gonna have sex, here's a box of condom. How about the condom is when you're going to see your boyfriend, right? What happens to the morals? That leads to moral decay. Imagine, fine, sex is not about not getting an STI, it's not about not getting a baby, right? There's something moral.
So you're saying,
right?
By saying to our children, Nancy, eat condom if you need it, you are giving them the permission to indulge, and you're saying it's okay.
Listen to my question. So right now we're in 2019, right? You say, kids, fine, indulge. Don't get pregnant, don't get an STI. In 2020, obviously the paradigm would have shifted, right? And kids would be allowed, they'll be able to do it, right? So by the time your child gets married, all the way from the time they start feeling those things, that's usually about 13 years, 14. By the time they get 25 and get married, how many guys have they slept with? Let's say they don't get married, they die. How many guys have they literally slept with? Because yes, there is teenage pregnancy happening. We're not disputing that. But I feel like we should still continue to talk to them about it. One thing that I picked up when I was growing up is that people don't say don't have sex. They don't tell you the benefits of abstaining. You know, the only benefit they tell you is, hi, you're gonna get an STI or you're gonna get a baby. So that's why it's always all of a sudden reduced to no STI, no baby, which means it's good sex. But it's bigger than that. You know, sex is about oneness with someone, you know, expressing love and growing the love. It's not about, even when you're married, it's not about having a baby. Sex is about expression of love. You know, it's bigger than not getting pregnant and not having a baby. So I feel like maybe we should educate our adults and our children on the fact that sex is actually bigger than that. You know, it's a gift from God. Actually, I'm Christian, I said before. I feel like it's a gift from God to marry people that brings them together and binds them, you know. So maybe we should have more sex education, even to the adults, because most adults think that sex is really a means of producing children or a means of pleasure. It's bigger than that.
All right. So she's saying, you know what, we can't say to our children, it's okay to do this. We need to take it back to the basics and say, no, don't trivialize the act. It's bigger than that. Your comments?
I agree with what she's saying, in the sense that while there's soul ties, you're attached to this person, what then happens, hypothetically, you guys break up? Because now I feel like girls, especially girls, you get that thing of, no, even if he's treating you bad, he's hitting you, just dead right, disrespecting you. You're now forced to be with this person because you're thinking, oh, well, I've actually had sex with him. And
I can't leave.
Yeah. But yeah, what she's saying, it is bigger than just getting pregnant, STIs, even HIV. It's that thing of why, I feel like parents should have conversations with their kids of why do you actually want to have sex? Even as yourself as a person, like, why do I actually want to have sex? Even if I have sex with this person, hypothetical situations, if he leaves, what then? If I get pregnant, what then? If I get HIV, what then? And be realistic with your answers that you're giving. Because we all want that hunky-dory, no, he's going to stick it out with me, we're going to be together forever. But what if it doesn't happen?
Okay, so you're saying, you know what, parents should keep it real. Don't just say, don't do this, but tell them why.
Yes.
Okay, chances are he's going to leave you. You're not going to be together forever, because I think when you do it the first time, you're like, oh, we're going to get married and then we're going to have beautiful babies. That's not how it goes down. So instead of romanticizing it and saying, no, you know, wait until you're married, you're like, no, you know what, this is the reality of what happens, and speak about our experiences.
I agree. My dad used to have very frank conversations with us. Like, my dad is not forceful. He respects that. He's always respected, even when I was a child, that I've got a mind of my own. So my father would sit down with you and tell you, Mamo, you are not supposed to go out at night because, first of all, you're a girl and there's so many bad things that can happen to you out there. Ulama disadvantages for you going out more than for your brother going out. So you can get raped, you can get robbed, and you can't defend yourself because you're a girl. Also, I don't think it's okay for you to be going out there and getting drunk, because you might not be able to make decisions that you'd make when you're sober. But I know that you might do it, you know. So my father would always say, this is what you are supposed to do, but it's your decision, because I know you are. And I would not do those things because I didn't want to disappoint him, because he had faith in me, Uti. And he respected me. You know, I think parents need to respect their children. Respect Uchi, your child thinks, but parents usually talk down on
their children. Yeah.
And you think your word is low, yet your word is not shit when you're out there. The moment you step out of the door, like, bye, mom.
Bye, see you later.
And you're out there making your own decisions. So you're good in front of them, and yourself out there.
And then you're out, you're like...
Yeah, so we need to accept.
But ladies, where are the boys in this conversation? We spoke earlier about teenage pregnancies don't seem to affect boys as much. The talk about contraception, no one has the talk of contraception with boys. So what role do they play in fighting teenage pregnancy? The boys.
I, for one, feel like boys in society are somewhat protected. Like, for me, I feel like, because even with...
They're living large.
It's like...
No responsibility at all.
But I think it's our fault, the mothers.
Yes. The mothers.
Because mothers raise boys. And the topic that you're starting is about patriarchy. Patriarchy is driven by women.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you, in most households, it's the mothers that will let the boys go out there and impregnate girls. Because boys are not wanted back home by 6 o'clock. Boys are not... They are not taught to take responsibility for
the pregnancy. Yeah.
So I think if we're going to have this conversation, we need to teach women raising boys and men as well.
I guess
people raising boys need to drive this conversation.
All right. So I'm sure you guys heard the story about a student in one of our institutions of higher learning who found out that she was pregnant and committed suicide. How does society, how do our parents, our friends treat a teenager that has gotten pregnant that could cause them to arrive at a decision like this?
Well, I think that we shouldn't be judgmental. You know, obviously the child is already feeling terrible about what has happened because the society is obviously shooting at her. I feel like what we should do is to bring that child closer, speak to them and say, it's okay. You made a mistake. It's fine. Own it. It doesn't need to define you. You need to continue living. You know, there's still life. There's still life beyond all this. You know, it doesn't mean that because now you have a baby, life has ended. Growing up, you know, people would stop going to school because Trash is falling pregnant. My parents are no longer paying my fees. Yes, our parents also, you know, sometimes they'll say, I've wasted my money on you. I mean, hello, I paid for you this, and you've done this. This guy that has impregnated you should take care of this kid. And chances are this guy actually is not even employed or anything. Oh yeah, even if he's around, he probably is. He can't. He's financially incapable of taking care of the child. So I feel like as society, we should actually bring those children closer and speak to them and hear what they have to say and actually be available for emotional support. Because like you say, chances are the guy has literally gone. So who's there for the child to cry and lean on?
Well, I mean, for this one, I'll use my experience. When I felt pregnant, my parents were devastated.
Yeah.
Like, it was a shocker because, remember, I was a good girl. So yeah, they were shocked. But for me now, it had a tribal connotation as well because the person that got me pregnant was Shona, and that was the biggest crime in the world. So it stopped being about the teenage pregnancy. It was now, we don't care that you're pregnant. Why couldn't you find it available? You know, type of thing. So in reaction, yeah, my parents, I think, when these things then happen, our parents need to be equipped to deal with it. Mine couldn't deal with it. And for a week or two, my dad wasn't talking to me. But I think if it had continued, I could have even been suicidal. Yeah. But he checked himself at
quickly.
some point. He then called me and said, okay, this has happened. Do you love the guy? I said, yes. I do. And he says, okay, it's fine. We'll accept it, and you have options. He gave me options.
Yeah.
He said, listen, you don't have to get married to this guy for our sake because you feel you want to protect our reputation. We have accepted that you got pregnant. So make a decision whether you want to be with this guy or you don't want to be this guy. We're going to continue paying your university fees. I was the first year at university.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, whether you guys want to go and play Happy Families or whatever, I'm paying your fees until you finish college. I'm putting your child on medical aid. So, you know, the support that they gave me, despite the mistake that I had made, really was the deciding factor on how I was going to cope with this. But you know what? Despite them saying all that, I still felt I had to get married to the guy. I couldn't imagine being pregnant and unmarried. So he was saying all these things to me that, no, you don't have to get married, but
you weren't hearing it.
I wasn't hearing it. In my mind, I was thinking, how do I walk down the road with that big belly and no man by my side? So I got married, and I got married to a guy who I would never have married if I hadn't fallen pregnant. And this boy as well is probably thinking, I should do the right thing and marry this girl. But we were not a couple that was going to get married without the pregnancy. But because of society, we both felt, let's get married. And that's always a recipe for disaster. So I think this conversation is really about a paradigm shift. Whichever way we then decide to strike a balance, so which, like she was talking about morals, and which is something I really think we need to uphold like, as a society. But as much as we need to uphold the morals, we also need to say, how do we handle things like this when we then engage in immoral acts? What do we do? So yeah, my parents, for me, their support really took me through the whole thing.
So your parents came around very quickly. They were disappointed and then they got over it.
Yes.
I need you to speak to parents that don't get over it. And then they were like, Khamba, go and stay with him. They're like, we're not taking care of you. I mean, I met a young girl once, I think and she was staying at Ngozi Mine, where her husband was, because they said, take your things and go, because this is the decision that you've made. So what are you saying to those parents that are saying, Tina, we can't get over this, we can't deal with this, you have disappointed us and we don't want anything to do with you?
It's tough for me to judge them.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about people who grew up in this society that we're discussing today that says your child cannot get pregnant at a certain age. We're talking about people who were raising good children. So your failure is a failure on their part in their minds. And people handle failure differently. some want to cut themselves off from that failure.
Yes.
I have a friend who says her mother hid her when she was pregnant.
Umfihla.
Umfihla, uthi visitors are coming and they're told, go and sit in the bedroom. We don't want people to know. She had the baby. That baby, why fihlwa lai? Because the parents feel it's shameful.
The shame.
And you cannot judge someone who feels that way because they're not pretending. To them, it's the worst thing that
Could ever happen.
So, back to my response, a paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift.
We need to change the way we think about sex, the way we think about raising children. Parents need to know it's not your fault that I'm a hoe. Sorry. Yeah, so they need to divorce themselves.
It's not
from
on
our
you.
mistakes.
Yeah. You're killing me, Mama. All right, ladies, I want you to speak to the teenagers that are not yet pregnant, that are probably engaging in sex or not, or just having the conversation with themselves. I want you to give them advice as we speak about teenage pregnancies and engaging in sex. I mean, STIs and HIV and so forth. And as we wind down, I'd like you to speak on those that have gotten pregnant and what they need to do from then on, because we don't want our teenagers to end up killing themselves or blaming themselves for the rest of their lives because of what happened. So what word of advice do you have for our teenagers that are watching right now?
For me, the one that is engaging in sex and is not yet pregnant, or it hasn't, because then with pregnancy, some people feel like it just happens. I had sex.
It's a mistake. Look,
Yeah,
so you tripped and fell pregnant?
Yeah, I feel like know your options.
Tripped on what?
Or like you went to the store to get chips and then you had a baby.
I feel like know your options.
Yeah.
Like educate yourself in terms of what are my options in terms of contraceptive.
Yeah.
Because like I was shocked to discover some years ago that they give free contraceptives in New Start.
You had no idea.
I stayed in South Africa for some time, and literally a loop cost 1,000 something rand, and here you get it for free. All you have to do is just wake up, get
And
to
go
the
there.
queue, and get it done, and that stays with you for 5 to 10 years depending on what you get. I feel like just know your options. There are options available, and also I feel like in terms of people judging you and whatnot, you are having sex. There's nothing we can do about it. And also get that courage to say to yourself, I'm having sex, but the options I'm taking in terms of contraceptives are for me and for my future. We can't stop you from having sex. You can't really hold your child and say, no, you're not going to have sex. Your child wants to have sex, will have sex. Whether you know about it or
No, you
not.
don't.
But
Right.
know your options. And also, condoms are not the only option you have.
All right, thank you for that.
Pulling out is not a thing.
Okay.
I feel like you're going to talk abstinence, but let me know. Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, yeah.
Actually, my advice to the girls: if you're doing it, stop. Here's why: your brain is here, your private part is down there. This is above this. So if this is here, it means this is actually what's controlling your body. So you can't wake up and tell me, I was feeling like it. You
That's
can
it, she
actually
said.
tell yourself not to feel like it. I got married at 26. I felt like it. I had many hot guys that I dated that wanted to, that left me because they were cheating on me because I wasn't having sex with them. I could have said, since they're leaving me, I might as well. I didn't. I held on while feeling like it, and I crossed the finish line. It's possible. So even if you may have had it, it's fine. Stop. You can still control your brain.
Stop.
Well, my advice is to teenagers and everyone, just always have someone to talk to. Like you need to have that one person that you can go to and say, this is what I'm going through. I have a little sister who texted me and said, I want to have sex with my boyfriend. What should I do? And I was so happy that I can have that conversation with her. So I had the chance to tell her, don't do this, don't do that, do it this way. So always have someone that you can talk to. And now that there's social media, there's people like us on Twitter,
Just hook
DM me and
her.
tell me your problems, So there are so many options. And when things do go wrong, also there's people to talk to. Either in your family, your friends, people on social media, Gulamam, Sasa, that women's place. They don't feel desperate. There's always someone who's going to understand your problem. And problems seem so big in your head. But when you have someone to sound off, it becomes better. So find someone to talk to.
All right. So there needs to be a paradigm shift if we're going to tackle teenage pregnancies, and it's your responsibility and my responsibility. So let's do what we can do so as to stop teenage pregnancy. And that is it for the Girls Table today. Let's meet again next week.
Bye.